obstruct a criminal case, and really shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
A clash between the Trump administration and local authorities as a judge is arrested accused of helping an undocumented immigrant avoid federal agents. And that arrest in Wisconsin comes just one day after a former New Mexico judge was taken into custody on similar charges. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. These two cases are highlighting the growing battle over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown in this country. And we begin in Wisconsin, where Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested by the FBI today. The Department of Justice says Dugan allowed an undocumented immigrant in her court on criminal battery charges to evade arrest last week by escorting him out of the courtroom through a private door. Agents later found and arrested the man. A former San Francisco Superior Court judge says she's never heard of an arrest like the one that was made in Milwaukee today.
I think it's very astounding and shocking that a judge is being arrested while exercising her judicial duty. It's unprecedented. I think it violates the separation of powers doctrine and usurps the authority of a judge's duty to manage the courtroom in the interest of justice.
If convicted of obstructing justice, Judge Dugan could face up to 6 years in federal prison. Meantime, in New Mexico, a former judge and his wife are facing obstruction charges after they were taken into custody yesterday. They're accused of letting an undocumented immigrant live at their home in Las Cruces, and federal authorities say that man is a member of the Tren de Aragua gang. A spokesperson for ICE says former Doña Ana County Magistrate Judge Joel Cano and his wife were arrested as part of an investigation by Homeland Security. Cano resigned last month following these accusations. Cano claims he saw no signs the man he was housing was affiliated with the gang. Today, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi weighed in on this case.
This is the last person that we want in our country, nor will we ever tolerate a judge or anyone else harboring them.
Attorney General Bondi says the arrests in Milwaukee and New Mexico should send a message that the Trump administration will take action not just against undocumented immigrants, but also against judges that the administration believes are protecting those in this country illegally. The Department of Homeland Security has warned a San Diego immigration attorney to leave the United States immediately, but he is a U.S. citizen. Fox's Dominique Lavigne met with that attorney and has more tonight on his case.
Adam Pena visits this building regularly to represent his clients in immigration court.
The most rewarding thing about that is making sure that those individuals have their day in court.
He's worked as an immigration attorney for more than a year, focusing on removal defense cases.
My family has been in this country for over 100 years. They immigrated here over a century ago.
But the tables turned on Pena when he received an email from the Department of Homeland Security on April 11th.
I was stunned because right off the bat it says it's time for you to leave the United States.
Because of his work, Pena says he communicates with DHS on some of his cases. So he believes the Trump administration wanted to send a message with this notice.
I do feel it was sent as a form of intimidation.
This comes as the Trump administration continues to expand their efforts to increase the deportations of undocumented immigrants.
They're not even here legally. They didn't enter the country the proper way, and they're immediately in court demanding rights and claims under our laws.
In a statement, a senior DHS official says, quote, if a non-personal email, such as an American citizen contact, was provided by the alien, notices may have been sent to unintended recipients. CBP is monitoring communications and will address any issues on a case-by-case basis, end quote.
They're saying it's a mistake, but they've also made a lot of mistakes in the past too, right? And those mistakes have turned out to be costly.
While he is a U.S. citizen, Pena says he plans to carry his birth certificate and passport with him in case he were to get detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. In downtown San Diego, I'm Dominique Lavigne. I'll send it back to you.
Today, the Trump administration reversed course on its cancellation of more than 1,500 student visas. The Justice Department says it will instead work on a new system for reviewing international student visas, and they also say that no more visas will be revoked until that happens. This comes after the White House was sued by students who say their visas were revoked with little to no explanation. Also tonight, the Interior Department is looking to fast-track approvals for coal, gas, and critical mineral projects on public lands after President Trump declared a national energy emergency. The department says this cuts a year-long process down to about 2 weeks. A full environmental impact statement, typically a 2-year process, would be shortened to about 28 days. According to S&P Global, the U.S. is the second slowest country in critical mineral mine development, taking 29 years on average. The mining industry is praising President Trump's move, but some environmental organizations argue the White House is misusing its emergency powers as they attempt to bypass current environmental laws.
Cutting staff, as we've seen, DOJ do with its, probationary firings and these resignations and deferred layoffs. If you don't have staff, you can't do a good environmental review.
Also, the president signed an executive order yesterday promoting the exploration of deep-sea mining. Thousands of shipping containers arrive at Southern California ports every single day, and they require longshoremen, warehouse workers, and truckers to unload. But President Trump's tariffs are slowing shipping traffic from Asia, and hundreds of workers could soon be out of a job. Fox's William Lajeunesse has a closer look tonight at how President Trump's tariffs are affecting ports along the West Coast.
The outlook at this exact moment is very grim.
The impact of President Trump's tariffs being felt at U.S. ports. In Southern California, the ports of L.A. and Long Beach heavily rely on imports from China, which have been hit with tariffs of up to 145%.
Truly going to be a catastrophic year. More than half of the folks that I know are talking about closing their doors.
Officials say a record 80 cargo ships from Asia to the West Coast have been canceled, and nearly half of all scheduled shipments for the next month have been scrapped.
There'll be only so many jobs to go around and a lot of guys looking for work. It's going to affect us all. So, it's our livelihood.
Local officials are worried about a ripple effect on the economy.
Of course, when you lose jobs, unemployment goes up, there's less consumer spending, and 2/3 of our GDP is based on consumer spending. So if you look at that formula, we have concerns about the future.
Business owners are pleading with the government.
Give us enough time to figure it out. Give us enough time to identify new partners, find new ways to make it work.
And yet, neither the U.S. nor China are letting up in the trade war.
As far as I know, China and the U.S. have not conducted consultations or negotiations on tariff issues, let alone reached an agreement. We will fight if we must, and our doors are open if the U.S. wants to talk.
The bottom line is the U.S. imports more than $400 billion in products from China. Most come through here. Those we spoke to want fair trade. They only hope this de-escalates before they lose their job. In San Pedro, California, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Rent hikes could soon be fewer and farther between in Washington as state lawmakers are weighing new compromise legislation that would either cap rent at 7% plus inflation or a flat 10%. This new agreement removed a Senate provision that would have exempted single-family homes, nonprofit affordable housing, as well as public housing. Landlords would have to provide written notice of a coming increase at least 90 days in advance. The bill still needs to pass both the House and Senate before Sunday, when the legislative session ends in Washington. If it passes, it would then head to Governor Bob Ferguson's desk to be signed into law. Authorities outside Seattle tonight are investigating a shooting that left 3 people dead. King County Sheriff's deputies say this shooting happened around 7 o'clock last night in the community of Newcastle. Once at this scene, deputies found 3 bodies inside a home. Tonight, it remains unclear exactly what led up to this shooting. And police in Southern California are searching tonight for the thief who stole a cross. The LAPD shared this video on social media of a thief entering the St. Camillus Center for Spiritual Care. In this surveillance video, you can see the man approach the pulpit, grab that cross, and then take off. Today, California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced the arrests of 3 people accused of running an identity theft ring that operated all across the state.
If you are engaged in organized retail crime, if you go after our businesses and steal from them, if you steal the identities of fellow Californians, if you try to make an easy buck off of other people's hard work, we will come for you.
Bonta says the scheme was carried out in 3 Bay Area counties, along with several counties in Southern California. Investigators say over several months in 2023, the suspects fraudulently obtained over $100,000 worth of merchandise from high-end retail stores and Harbor Freight retailers.
The 3 suspects involved in this case had allegedly purchased multiple pieces of jewelry from several retailers throughout the state using credit accounts they illegally opened after stealing identities from 13 individuals.
A 34-count felony complaint has now been filed against the 3 defendants. The charges include organized retail theft, grand theft, and identity theft. Legal commentator Nancy Grace is expressing doubts tonight about new evidence that's part of an effort to overturn the murder conviction of Scott Peterson. Peterson is convicted of killing his pregnant wife Lacey back in 2002. The bodies of Lacey and their unborn son were found in the San Francisco Bay. The Los Angeles Innocence Project says, based on technology that was not available at the time, fetal testing places the date of death during a time when Peterson was already being watched by police. They're arguing that he could not have killed the pair. But Nancy Grace called the new evidence faulty when she was asked about it on the 2 Angry Men podcast hosted by TMZ's Harvey Levin and prominent attorney Mark Garagos.
She's went into her own personal examples where she got sonograms and said, you know, they try to nail down these times, these critical dates for the fetus, but it's not an exact science, and that's why she thinks this will ultimately fail at the Court of Appeals.
Peterson was originally given the death penalty, but later was resentenced to life in prison without parole. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a top basketball recruit severely injured in a car crash earlier this week in Southern California. We will have the latest tonight on his condition. Also, a large plume of smoke coming from a big fire that was happening in Phoenix today. Smoke filling the skies. We'll hear why the conditions in that part of Arizona were concerning for crews as they were trying to put out the flames.
And in weather, here's our live camera Friday evening looking out towards San Francisco. There's Alcatraz in the Bay. Still talking about some showers for parts of the West Coast as we head into your weekend, and we'll have the update coming up.
Crews knocked out a smoky scrapyard fire in Phoenix today. There was a lot of dark, thick smoke that could be seen all across the valley. Even after getting this fire under control, crews stayed on the scene for quite a while to mop up any remaining hot spots. Warm temperatures and strong winds in the Phoenix area also did pose a challenge today for these crews.
Heat is, unfortunately, it's a little bit warmer. It's not crazy hot yet, but we are prepared for that. The heat does play a little factor in it, only for our crews itself. We want to make sure we have a good work rest cycle for them so we're not overheating our crews too much. As far as the wind, it can affect it. We have some slight wind, as you can see, blowing the smoke around. But again, our crews were able to quickly surround the fire and contain it to the area so it didn't spread to any buildings or other structures.
And in the end, officials say there were no injuries reported here. The cause of this scrapyard fire is still under investigation tonight. In Southern California, wildlife is beginning to return to areas that were burned by the Eaton fire in Altadena. A number of trail cameras that were placed there by wildlife researchers were also ruined by the fire, but now scientists with the Cheney Trail Corridor Project are installing new cameras in the Angeles National Forest to track the area's recovery. Researchers found the fire burned aggressively and unevenly, and that left areas of trees and small patches of green surrounding streams of water where animals were able to seek refuge.
Didn't know if they would return to the burn areas, which is their territory. And once we saw them show up on the trail cams, we were elated. When I saw the mountain lion show up on the trail cam, my first inclination was to share that with people who have lost so much during this fire, and with our community in Altadena, because it's a sign of hope.
And the heavy rains that came in the weeks following those fires helped significantly with the recovery. The group is now partnering with local scientists at UCLA to do more targeted research, specifically on bats and birds and how they're doing after the fire. We turn now to our weather here in the West, and let's bring in KTVU's chief meteorologist, Mark Tamayo, with a look at the cooler conditions and the rain and the snowfall we're seeing. Mark?
Yeah, rain and snowfall making a comeback. In fact, down in Southern California, rain chances definitely going up as we do move into Saturday. This was the Sierra today. As you can see here, lots of clouds, and they have a winter weather advisory in place. I know it's springtime, but the winter weather advisory is in place right now until 11 o'clock Sunday morning. And snowfall could be right around 5 to 10 inches, so still adding to the snowpack in the Sierra. The main culprit, you can see the circulation out here near the Bay Area. This producing some scattered showers closer to San Francisco earlier today, and this will eventually produce some rain showers down in the southern half of California as well. Now, showing you this, the clouds over portions of Colorado. They have the shower chances for tomorrow, and some green on the radar right around San Francisco earlier this morning and into the afternoon hours. So the showers kind of popping up. And there's still a shower chance as we do move into a Saturday as well. Current number is it's a warm 88 degrees in Phoenix, Las Vegas in the upper 70s. Reno showing you 53 degrees and some 60s up toward Portland and Seattle right now as we head into your Friday evening. This was Seattle today. It has been a nice, kind of pleasant weather stretch. You can see more sunshine in this picture. 71 degrees this afternoon in San Francisco. This was a scene looking out toward Golden Gate Park, out toward Ocean Beach as well. San Francisco only in the upper 50s. And then in Southern California, some sunshine today. This is actually from Santa Monica. And as I mentioned, the pattern will be changing tomorrow with more clouds and rainfall making a comeback for tomorrow. So here's kind of the game plan for tomorrow. Still some sunshine up towards Seattle, 70 degrees. Chance of some showers for Denver and also for San Francisco. And then rainfall will be approaching Los Angeles for tomorrow. Looks like more sunshine, though, out toward the Phoenix area. The temperatures mainly in the 80s for tomorrow afternoon. So here is the forecast model. We talked about that circulation drifting closer to central and southern California. So the net result, some green showing up on this forecast map, at least the chance of some showers for the Bay Area, and then down toward Los Angeles, maybe closer to San Diego as well. We talked about the Sierra picking up some more snowfall. Eventually, this system wants to track out toward Nevada, approaching Utah for the second half of the weekend. So the main energy will be shifting on to the south on Sunday. So here's the forecast. As you can see, more sunshine for Seattle for tomorrow, maybe some more clouds on Sunday. San Francisco will keep an eye on that shower chance for Saturday, and then on Sunday, still some clouds to start out the day. Southern California, there's that rain cloud, and we have some warm conditions out toward the Phoenix area, temperatures in the 70s and the 80s. But parts of the West Coast still dealing with some rainfall as we head into the last weekend of April. Alex.
All right, Mark, thank you. We have an update tonight on that fiery crash that injured a rising basketball star in Southern California. We brought you this story last night here on the show. The family of 18-year-old Elijah Arenas says the USC basketball recruit has now come out of his medically induced coma and is now showing signs of recovery. Arenas is a top 15 high school basketball recruit in the class of 2025 and the son of former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas. He was severely injured in that crash in Los Angeles early yesterday as he was traveling in a Tesla Cybertruck that lost control and hit a tree. The Arenas family put out a statement calling their son's recovery, quote, nothing short of miraculous. Coming up tonight, here on West Coast Rap, we're going to tell you about a heartwarming exchange.
I was like, I'm your #1 fan. He was like, cool, and gave me a fist bump.
Yeah, we're going to tell you about that heartwarming exchange between a young basketball fan and one of the NBA's biggest stars. It's going viral. The video is great. We'll hear from the boy who got to meet one of his favorite players while selling drinks at a roadside stand in Arizona. Also tonight, one of the main routes to a national park in the Pacific Northwest is shut down for good. Why the bridge was closed and the other options now being considered as a replacement. The bridge that served as the only route to the northwest corner of Mount Rainier National Park in Washington is permanently closed. The state's Department of Transportation says the Carbon River Fairfax Bridge was unsafe for anyone to travel on. The support column was damaged beyond repair. The Department of Transportation says they're starting to evaluate other options for future access. The first option is to keep the bridge closed and not to replace it. The second is to replace the bridge somewhere nearby. And a third option is to reroute a main highway to the east or the west of Carbon River Canyon. Well, the Phoenix Suns missed the NBA playoffs this year, but one of the team's biggest stars is still finding time to bring some joy to fans. All-star Devin Booker recently pulled up to a lemonade stand in Paradise Valley, just outside Phoenix, where two kids were raising money for a nonprofit. And as Fox's Kenzie Beach shows us, it was a heartwarming exchange.
The reaction from this 9-year-old boy was absolutely priceless. He's a huge Devin Booker fan. The boy telling me he knew that Devin Booker collected vintage cars. He thought it was him right away, but didn't say anything because he was starstruck.
I'm still like shocked I met Devin Booker, and like I still can't believe it. Like it's still crazy to me.
Meet Eli, the 9-year-old, a huge Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker fan.
I have sweater, jerseys, everything. Like I love the Suns. I like watch as many games as I can.
Devin Booker was coming back from this photo shoot posted to his Instagram page featuring his latest Nike drop, a collaboration with Chevy. Booker, driving his 1972 blue Chevy Blazer, drove right down Eli's street in Paradise Valley.
Get some? Yeah.
The young entrepreneur set up shop, raising money for homeless pups at the Almost There Rescue. Eli's entire exchange with Booker was posted to their Instagram page and has gone viral.
Whoa, thank you! Thank you so much. Cool car.
$200 in exchange for an orange Gatorade and homemade banana chips captured Eli's attention.
I was like, Devin Booker gave me $200.
Eli, quickly connecting the dots, was starstruck, but couldn't let his favorite basketball star leave without saying hi.
Are you Devin Booker?
I am.
I'm like your biggest fan. And he was like, yeah, and then I was like, I'm your #1 fan. He was like, cool, and gave me a fist bump.
Eli's goal is to reach $1,000, and it's all for the pups.
My man, give me some.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. You guys keep doing what you're doing.
It's important because there's dogs that want a home and want someone to be with. So they're important. So I raise money to help them.
This story and that video has gained national attention, going viral. Devin Booker, not only a Phoenix staple, but taking time for the kids. Now, Eli will continue to raise money for charity. He'll be back out there this Saturday at 51st and McDonald in Paradise Valley. I'm Kenzie Beach, Fox 10 News.
What a sweet moment. You love to see it. Finally, tonight, it is time to dust off your boots and break out your cowboy hat. The Stagecoach Country Music Festival kicked off today in Indio, California, just outside of Palm Springs. It runs all throughout this weekend, and the festival comes less than a week after Coachella wrapped up in that same spot. This year's lineup includes several Grammy winners. Luke Combs will close out the weekend on Sunday night. And that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. A quick reminder before we head out here that you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering for you across the West Coast at our website. It's westcoastwrap.com, and stream our shows for free on your smart TV with the free Fox Local app. Have a great night.